War hit shores. Shores strike back.
This isn't border policy. It's national defense.
Narcos War.
In theaters now.
The president of the United States has put the entire world on notice. Land strikes will be targeting cartels. Travel bans are expanding to 30 countries, and any nation funneling drugs or criminals into America is now subject to military action. Not just Venezuela, anybody. And that's a direct quote. Meanwhile, the dictator of Venezuela is reportedly trying to flee his own country, but his inner circle won't let him leave because they know what happens next. This is not diplomacy. This is a new American doctrine. And the cartels, the smugglers, and the hostile regimes are finally learning what zero tolerance actually looks like. Now, here's what's at stake, because for decades, America has been the world's doormat. Cartels poisoned our communities. Foreign governments exported their criminals, and our leaders did nothing. They called it compassion. They called it diplomacy. They called it complicated. Meanwhile, Americans died by tens of thousands every single year. Well, that is all ending right now. President Trump announcing military strikes will hit any nation tied to drug trafficking, not just Venezuela, but anyone funneling poison into our country. Homeland Security Secretary Noem went even further, recommending a full travel ban on every country flooding America with what she called killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Reports indicate the administration is preparing to expand travel restrictions to around 30 nations. The DHS put it plainly, it's a privilege and not a right to come to the United States. And for the first time in years, Americans are being put first. And some breaking news, though, on the financial front. While America secures its borders as the administration cracks down on foreign threats, smart investors are looking to protect and grow their wealth. Over the past year, you've seen me present opportunities to purchase gold and silver, but now there's something even more of an upside. Now, that search has led me to Nevada. AmeriCorps Resources, trading as AMCOF in the U.S. and AMCO in Canada, is positioning itself at the center of Nevada's modern silver resurgence. They've acquired the Trinity Silver Project from Newmont, and Newmont actually became a shareholder in that deal. When a nearly $100 billion mining giant takes a stake, that is worth paying attention to. Now, Trinity is not speculation. It's a historic silver mine with over 5 million ounces produced and historical data pointing to 28 million ounces still in the ground. And get this, the stock is still trading under 25 cents, giving investors rare early-stage exposure. Silver hitting all-time highs right now, so find out more at the link in the description, and we thank them for supporting the show. But here's where the story gets even more intense. Reports indicate that the Venezuelan dictator, Nicolas Maduro, wants to flee his own country, but his inner circle is blocking him. They're reportedly telling him the CIA is waiting outside. The reality? His cronies know that if Maduro leaves, they're next. The regime is crumbling from within. Meanwhile, as of mid-November, 83 people have been killed in 21 military strikes on 22 vessels. The administration designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, treating drug traffickers like enemy combatants. Even the CBP Home app is offering free flights home, plus a $1,000 exit gift to illegal aliens. The administration not playing defense now. They're hunting. Here's what they put out on social media.
Arrangements, and once you're home, Are you an illegal alien in the United States? Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for your family? Then DHS has the best holiday deal of your life. It's the CBP Home app. It's free. It's fast. Just download the CBP Home app and fill out your information. We'll take care of your travel arrangements, and once you're home, you'll receive a $1,000 stipend. So don't delay. Join the 2 million illegal aliens who have already left. Download the CBP Home app today and get home for the holidays. Are you an illegal alien in the United States?
Oh, man. Department of Homeland Security got jokes. They got the jokes, man. Here's President Trump talking about those boats.
Somebody asked me a question about, to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people, and I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this, I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along, and a lot of the press would like to say they're not. You see the boat, they're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions and loaded up with lots of white containers? They're bags or things. No, they've done an amazing job, and Peter's done an amazing job. Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
No, you're spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. We've got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels, violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So to me, it was an attack. It wasn't.
What you're seeing there is they're raking Hegseth over the coals because there was a second engagement after that first strike. Allegedly, there were narco terrorists that were still in the water, and they opened fire on them. Now, Hegseth has already declared that they were under threat, so therefore the threat was neutralized. Others are calling it an act of a war crime, an act that goes against maritime engagement in naval battle, whatever they want to call it. They'll find a reason to go after them, even if they cure cancer. But that's what he's addressing there specifically. Now, moving on here, it's called the fog of war.
You didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. We didn't see any.
He's talking about that Washington Post article that was put out fake news. Here's President Trump on the Venezuelan drug traffickers at the cabinet meeting today.
No, we're not going to let. We lost last year. I think it was more than that, but people don't like saying it because they always said 100,000, 115,000, numbers we've been hearing for years. So we lost last year more than 200,000 people, dead people, ruined families beyond the 200,000, and those 200,000, that family will never be the same. But these people have killed over 200,000 people, actually killed over 200,000 people last year, and those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land, too. The land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know the routes they take. We know everything about them. We know where they live. We know where the bad ones live. And we're going to start that very soon, too.
Mr. President, thank you so much, Mr. President.
You know what? When we start that, we're going to drive those numbers down so low. And then you're going to have families be able to live without the fear of their son or daughter just having a pill to have a little fun and ending up dying within a period of 60 seconds, right? No, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it continue to happen. What Biden did to this country by allowing all these people, and I call them animals in many cases, I think they're animals, to come into our country and destroy our country and let all those drugs pour in. Let people just walk across the border like it was nothing. You look at them, a lot of them, and you say, oh, let's not discriminate. I'm not talking about color. I'm just talking about you look into the eyes of some of these people. We're smart. And you see a killer. Come on in. Just come on in. 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. He allowed them into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers, and hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out. We lost.
We're taking those sons of bitches out. Talking about land strikes. This is the major shift in U.S. policy, warning land strikes will target cartels in any nation tied to drug trafficking.
Whether it's fentanyl.
Mentioned potential land strikes. Can you elaborate anything on that?
I'll elaborate. If they come in through a certain country or any country, or if we think they're building mills for whether it's fentanyl or cocaine. I hear Colombia, the country of Colombia, is making cocaine. They have cocaine manufacturing plants, okay? And then they sell us their cocaine. We appreciate that very much. But yeah, anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack.
So not necessarily just Venezuela?
No, not just Venezuela, no. Venezuela's been very bad. Venezuela's been really bad in something else, probably worse than most, but a lot of other people do it too. They would send murderers into our country. They would empty their jails into our country. They sent people into our country that we don't want. They sent their drug dealers and their drug people into our country. They sent people from their mental institutions into our country, and we're getting them out. That was bad. That was real bad. And they also sent drugs. Yeah.
You just mentioned potential land strikes. Can you elaborate anything on that?
Land strikes are on the horizon. Here's Secretary Noem recommending full travel bans. Oh, no, it's not a video. After the D.C. shooting, Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem said she recommends President Trump full travel ban in every damn country. It's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. On every damn country. President Trump set to hold a 9th cabinet meeting with immigration expected to be a major focus, and DHS pushing for the travel ban. 30 countries, a bid to more aggressively curtail migration to the U.S. following last week's shooting of 2 National Guard members. Here is the press secretary
Legal immigration. President Trump has done more to crack down on illegal immigration and to strengthen our legal immigration system than any president in history. Several months ago, he announced a travel ban on 19 third world and failed state countries around the world. Secretary Noem announced tonight she's recommending that travel ban widens and covers more countries around the globe. Special immigrant visas, which we know many Afghans have used to come into our country. There has been a complete suspension and pause on all of those. If you look at the entire visa process in general, we have greatly strengthened and heightened the vetting process and requirements for that under Secretary Rubio's leadership at the State Department. And he has used his authority, which is unprecedented, to actually revoke the visas of many individuals who, yes, came here legally, but still pose a risk to our country and should have never been allowed in the first place. And I would just remind people around the world that coming to the United States of America is a privilege. It is not a right. And if you abuse that privilege, and if you don't align with the values of the United States, and you don't respect our country, our culture, our laws, and our people, you are not welcome here under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump. President Trump has done more to crack down.
President Trump making it real, man. Cracking down on all this stuff. Now, this is interesting about Maduro's regime. Maduro wants to flee his country. His own cronies won't let him. They're telling him the CIA is waiting outside because they know if he leaves, they fall next. According to new reporting, Nicolas Maduro is being pressured by his inner circle to stay in Venezuela despite offers of luxurious exile abroad. Officials telling him U.S. intelligence teams are already operating inside the country and would intercept him if he attempted to flee. But the real reason is simpler. Once Maduro leaves, his loyalists lose their shield and face their own political extinction or prosecution. Maduro is trapped by the very regime that he built. And President Trump's Navy is right off the coast. Some unfortunate news 8 hours ago. Another illegal who was released into our country by the Biden administration and got a CDL from Gavin Newsom has killed Americans. Rajneer Kumar, an illegal alien from India, crashed his truck into a newlywed couple in Oregon.
East of Brother, 32-year-old truck driver from Fresno, California, has been arrested after his truck jackknifed east of Bend, leading to a deadly crash. It happened Monday night on Highway 20 east of Brothers. Oregon State Police say that truck and trailer blocked the highway, but they did not say why. A man from Springfield and a woman from John Day were killed after their SUV crashed into the trailer. Investigators said dark conditions and a lack of active warning equipment contributed to the crash. OSP said the truck driver was arrested on suspicion of criminally negligent homicide and reckless endangering. 32-year-old truck driver from Fresno, California, has been arrested after his...
From Fresno, he says. How convenient. Indian illegal alien truck driver accused of killing newlyweds. Oh, my goodness. Here is Megyn Kelly.
Yours. Not that into it, nor do I really care that we're killing the drug boat guys trying to kill my kids and yours right now by bringing their fentanyl to the United States to try to get our kids when they go to college with, you know, some drug in some moment of weakness where they think they're taking a Xanax, like what happened to poor Eric Bolling's child, and instead it's laced with fentanyl. So I really do kind of not only want to see them killed in the water, whether they're on the boat or in the water, but I'd really like to see them suffer. I would like Trump and Hegseth to make it last a long time so that they lose a limb and bleed out a little. Like, I'm really having a difficult time ginning up sympathy for these guys who 10 seconds earlier almost got taken out by the initial bomb, but because they managed to get ejected, you know, a little too soon, had to be taken out in the water. Not that into it, nor do I really care that we're killing the drug boat guys trying to kill my kids and yours.
Secretary Duffy providing an update on his work to crack down on unqualified foreign truckers.
So just quickly on aviation, many of you have heard that we have an infrastructure made of copper. We have to transition to fiber. The last administration said it was going to take more than 10 years to complete the transition from copper to fiber. They had no plan to actually do it. We have already completed a third of this transition from copper to fiber. Now it's going to take longer for us to go from analog to digital. By the way, the rest of the world transitioned 20 years ago from analog to digital. We are just going to do that at the FAA right now, but we're buying new radios. We're going to buy new radar. By the way, those radar are going to be made in America, Mr. President. This phase of the operation will be completed by the time you leave office. It's 3 years. I do need another $20 billion, Congress, to start the second phase, which is really important, and we'll try to get that done also in that 3-year time period, but we need the money, critically important. With regard to commercial driver's license, I think we've covered a lot the crashes that have taken place around the country, and what we found is there have been states that have issued commercial driver's license to foreigners, and they've gone through sham schools, and they're not safe on American roadways. And so, in partnership with Secretary Noem, we have driven those numbers down. We got California, Gavin Newsom, to revoke 17,000 unlawfully issued licenses. We've closed down half of the fake schools that give out these fake licenses, all critically important. Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota gave 33% of these licenses unlawfully. People that should never have a driver's license driving a big rig on American roads, endangering the American people, shameful. We've cleaned up Union Station here in D.C. per your directive. We're going to rebuild Penn Station in New York. We're going to break ground at the end of 2027, get that project operational. And, Mr. President, a lot of us, I fly commercially, I fly back by the bathrooms. I don't know why that happens. They put me in the back. We've asked Americans to bring their better selves, to bring civility back to travel, to say, listen, let's say please and thank you. And if someone's pregnant on your flight and you're as strong as Pete is, well, pick up the bag and help her put it in the overhead bin. Let's be nice to each other, is what we've asked. Maybe not wear pajamas or slippers on the airplane. And I think it's been received fairly well, and I think we can all have a better travel experience when we do that. And just the last...
So, listen, here's the bottom line. The administration announced illegal alien releases have hit zero for 6 months straight. Border crossings at the lowest levels in over 50 years. The administration is tearing apart fraud rings, shutting down operations that exploited the system, and foreign governments are watching a regime in Venezuela collapse while American forces position themselves across the hemisphere. It's not a policy adjustment. This is a complete reversal of everything the Biden administration built. And it's only December. Now, the story matters because American sovereignty is no longer negotiable. For 4 years under Biden, the border was a joke. Cartels operated with impunity. Criminals flooded in without vetting. And anyone who objected was called a racist. Those days are over. President Trump has made it clear, if your nation exports chaos to America, you will face consequences, military consequences, economic consequences, travel ban consequences. Noam, Hegseth, they're not mincing words, they're not backing down, and the results are already showing. Zero illegal releases for 6 months, historic lows at border crossings, Maduro reportedly trapped in his own country, cartel leaders looking over their shoulders. See, this is what happens when America has leadership that actually believes in defending its people. So my question for the comments, should the U.S. expand military strikes against cartels beyond just drug boats? Yes or no? Sound off in the comments. And gear up at the Next News merch shop, the link in the description.